I swing from that sounded wrong. In mood.
You swing. If you swing while taking photographs, you're not going to get a good quality image.
No, they're very blurry. It's part of my style.
It's quite surreal.
I'm quite avant-garde, which is another term for terrible photographer. I'm not.
Hello, business people of Earth, and welcome to NEBiznis, the podcast where we find out more about the business people behind the business. I'm Rob Baines from Rob Cam Productions, and today I am joined by Steve Warren from Studio Air Photography, the coffee-fueled photographer. He's already fueled with coffee now. It's
one tank down already.
I've persuaded him to move on to the hydration drink known as H2O, which is in coffee. But
nice brand.
Nice brand, yeah. Well, we in sync took a little sip there.
That was
good,
good,
nice. How are you, Steve? You
nice
all right?
and edit.
How are you?
I'm all good. How are you doing?
I'm very good. This is
excellent.
Are you excited to be on the?
I am. I'm very excited to be on this podcast, on a podcast. I'm hideously not enjoying the sound of my own voice, but I'm very excited to be here. This is excellent.
This is the first NEBiznis podcast as well, which is exciting.
Very exciting.
Brand new podcast where we can talk to business people, professionals, Steve, professional business people.
So I'm very much a dry run then before you start the show. That's fair enough. That's good. Yeah.
Man.
I know all the kinks with me. That's fine.
So I'm going to go straight into some joyful questions.
Ooh.
What is your origin story, Steve?
Oh, God. Right. So we have vaguely covered this before, and I gave you the cliff notes of it involves my father-in-law, a haulage company, and a scary Christmas.
Yeah.
And that's the shortened version.
That's the teaser.
That's the teaser trailer.
Yeah.
You can put that on the advert.
Yeah.
Right, yes. I have a long and winding backstory.
Yeah.
So strap in. A lot of this will need editing. So I worked for 10 years in supported housing,
right.
Working with homeless people.
Okay.
Around sort of the northeast generally. Yeah. And I managed, by the end of it, I was managing about 3 different teams in the area. Mm-hmm. Did the whole thing for about 10 years.
Right.
I was, now, this is going to go back and forwards. It's like flash forwards and flash backwards. I was having a conversation with my father-in-law.
Right.
My father-in-law is an amazing bloke called, I'm going to name check him, Jeff. Hi, Jeff. He's not listening. That's not because of this. It's just he's not listening.
Name checking? Do you mean like shout outs?
Yeah, shout out, shout out, Jeff.
I thought did I get the name right?
Not like. Oh, hang on, wait a minute. I've been married for 21 years. Is it? Oh God, I've been calling him the wrong name all this time. No. So I was having a conversation with him, and shall we say there were 2 bottles of wine in when we were having this conversation.
Yeah.
I was having a whinge about the fact that for the preceding 3 years, I had to put teams into consultation or been in consultation myself.
Right.
Which is where you turn to a group of people and go, we need to pay you less and you do roughly the same job or more. How does that sound? And I was fed up of doing it to people or having it done to me, only to then do it to other people, just because the funding just kept getting cut and cut and cut. Yeah. And I'd done it for 10 years and it wasn't, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed my job. I was managing these teams. It was worthwhile work, but it was just. And my father-in-law at the time had not long set up his own haulage company.
Okay.
So after a couple of bottles of wine, he said to me, well, it's people management. He was reaching a point where he was thinking, I should be sort of retiring or taking some time back. Why don't you come on as a director? You show me the business side. He was like, you can manage people. That's what I need. That's the skill set. Do you want to come in and do this? At the time, my wife was heavily pregnant with my now daughter. Mm-hmm. And I thought, what better time to take a risk? So jumped straight in on it. Perfect time to have an entire lifestyle change, I thought. Yeah. Let's go for it. Now, what that did, though, was it bought me or gave me some more time freedom because previously I was working, it was 9 to 5 working, or longer working in that job. Yeah. The haulage company, although it was 24/7, there was a lot of time freedom when you're your own boss to manage your own time. Yeah. Jumping back, me and Jeff had got on right from very early on. He's always been a photographer. Although he's run a haulage company, photography has always been his passion. He's always been interested in that. He's always done it as he's taught it. He's done it as a side sort of interest all his life.
Yeah.
I was not a photographer at the time when I first met him, but I used to play with images digitally. I had Photoshop before they started numbering it. That shows how old I am. I had that. I was playing with.
Well, to be fair, when you say that, I actually the first version of After Effects I had came in a box.
Yeah,
And
when you buy it and you bring it home. That's
a tangible. Back in the days where you paid for a bit of software, and that's it. You've got it,
and that was the thing that you had.
Got to keep on paying for it.
This is so. Yeah, I had that. I had like Coral Draw. All of those. I just love the idea of taking an image and then doing some stuff with it.
Yeah.
Because it was always about capturing something and getting a mood, changing it, doing stuff like that.
Yeah.
I liked doing that. So me and Jeff got on because he was very much around, he had some studio kit and we would play with the lights and I learned a lot from him and I would teach him how to use the software, and as we sort of developed, that's how we used to get on doing that. Mm-hmm. Flash forward again back to we now run a haulage company together.
Yeah.
We then followed that conversation up with, now we have some extra time. Should we go into photography business together? And the answer was yes. And I'll never forget my mother-in-law's face, who had been convinced that my father-in-law was now going to be retiring and taking a lot of spare time, when he came in to our house and said, in front of my mother-in-law, so I've spotted the space where we're going to set the studio up, Steve. I'm meeting with them next week, and we'll see. I think it'll be great. And her face was the one of, wait, what now? And that was how she found out we were setting up a photography business.
It was like the face was almost malfunctioning, sort of.
Yeah. What studio? What can I just? I have a question.
It's like that. It's like that meme where there's like all those equations and stuff coming to us.
Studio. Wait, no. But what about retiree? What? And that was
the settling down part of retirement.
But what about going out for thick? No. That's not going to happen. Don't be daft. So we decided to set up this because the reason we had that follow-up conversation was I'd spent 10 years running companies like that.
Yeah.
And then we ran the haulage company for 5 years together. And we set the photography business up at roughly the same time. And it came from germinated from an idea of basically I was having a child, as I mentioned, my wife was pregnant. Yeah. And the thought was, I had that idea in your head where you want to be able to tell your child, you can be whatever you want to be. You can do whatever you want to be. And I was then trying to have that conversation with her going, then why do you run trucks? And me going, I got drunk one night. And I thought, well, what do you want to be? What is it? And being a photographer was what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
It was just that it never occurred to me to do it. And then it was just a sort of penny drop. It was like, well, if I'm having that conversation, I kind of need to prove it. I need to be, I need to, I can be anything. You can be anything you want to be. Could you, Daddy? No, this is about you. I wanted to be able to go, because,
it's about you, not me.
No. Don't do what I say, not what I do. I wanted to be able to prove it.
Lead by example.
And prove it. So we decided to set up together as Studio 8. Yeah. Jeff has now somewhat retired. Yeah. He's 77. He's writing a book, but it's now it's grown over the last 12 years to be what it is now. That in essence is my long, and I've chopped bits out. That's my backstory.
And what's the reasoning and naming behind Studio 8 photography?
So we had a studio that was at number 8 on the street in Sedgefield where we set up originally. And we set up the studio in that space. There is no studio space now. Quickly over the first couple of years realised almost all of our work was outside of the studio. Yeah. I do proms, I do event photography, I do product photography. I go to places and I go and shoot outside. Yeah. So it became just an overhead. Yeah. I wasn't making use of the space. Yeah. It wasn't generating any income. It became unnecessary to have. Yeah. The studio element now is I bring the studio with me. Yes. I've just carried over the number 8. If you knock it on its side, it's the infinity sign.
Yes,
so it's anywhere. I've tried to incorporate that into my logo now. It's infinite possibilities, but I couldn't. That's too long a website. Studio Infinite Possibilities. Yeah. Photography. I just kept 8. Yeah. Just because the brand had gotten known by then. If I'd turned around and gone, I'm now called this. I thought I've got brand recognition. I'll keep it and run with it.
So leading on from your origin story, with these podcasts, I'm going to bleed my personality in. And if you know who I am, I'm a big fan. I mean, you just the same of superhero films.
Really?
I think you are. You don't ever lead out. You don't.
No, I hide
There's
it
nothing
under a
visual
bushel.
about you
No.
right now.
Yeah, I really hide that fact.
If you're watching this on YouTube, there's nothing visual about Steve right now. That hints towards his fandom for certain superheroes, or what social media posts you put out with running and all that sort of stuff. There's no hints. He's very reserved about that kind of.
Quite the introvert.
Yeah. Absolutely. But yeah, so I'm a big superhero fan, also a big Doctor Who fan. So I'm bleeding these passions and fandoms into my questions. Speaking of Doctor Who and time travel, if you had a time machine and you could go back in time, what piece of advice would you give to your younger self?
The main thing I have, and this is a genuine lesson that I've learned from my experiences, is, and this is why when I talk about my photography, I always get asked the question, what kind of photography do you do?
Yeah.
What photography? Are you a wedding photographer? And the answer is always is basically yes, but not just that. I do a range of photography. The lesson I've learned is essentially to have as many legs to your stool or strings to your bow as possible.
Yeah.
There is something to be said for going into niche and focusing in, but I have found, I've had experience where reliance on one element has caused problems. And it's meant a big pivot and a change. Whereas if you've got a spread of elements that you can rely on, more strands of income, more tools to pull on, it gives you more freedom to move around.
Yeah.
That's the one of the key things I've learned. I learned that from the haulage company. We had this is a fun story back. So we had about 12 to 15 trucks at any given time on the road. Yeah. And we had a big contract. I'm not going to name the brand. No, we had a contract with a delivery company. They're not here anymore, but they were green and yellow logoed. And we had a big
Work it out.
yeah. Some of the details, if you just Google, you'll find out. It's fine, but I'm not going to say the name. We had a big contract with them, so much so we had to expand our contract, our operator's license to be able to encompass more trucks. Right. Which meant, because we were dealing with them so much, they became basically 99% of our business. The subcontractor for them.
So you were heavily reliant.
We were heavily reliant on that. We didn't have capacity to do any other work because it didn't tie in.
Difficult situation.
Yeah, which was made more difficult on Christmas Day 2014 when they went into liquidation. Right. And I found out when a driver phoned me up and said, "Steve, do we still have a business?" And I said, "I hope so, Dave. Merry Christmas. What's happening here?" He went, "Put the news on." And it was announced on the news, and that's how I found out. God. And so it was an interesting year, shall we say, 2015 for me, of finding 25 drivers' jobs, which we managed to do. And also, Boxing Day was great fun, though. That involved going and stealing back all my trucks from depots, draining all the diesel off, and trying to find all my stuff before someone else's administrators stole them. It was chaos. But then it was very much, when the dust settled, what do we do now? Luckily, we had already set up the photography business. Yes. It was not where we needed it to be, but that was lucky that I've got that, because if I would have been solely reliant, then where do I go? Yeah. But we had to pivot, change, I had to expand and do a lot because we put all the eggs in one basket. And that's something that I've ever since tried not to do. So it's it's spread bets.
Just reinforcing that advice to you.
Yeah, I would be like, right, if you're ever in a situation
where companies with green and yellow
just have a think. If the green and yellow logos, just be wary. Yeah. Just be wary. But yeah, it was so that was fun times. But it was big changes, and looking back, you think there were things I could have put in place if I'd had some other backups. It just didn't occur to me at the time. Right. So that's why I don't niche market in just currently. The wedding market is really down this year. Yeah. So wedding photographers, it's
interesting you say that, though. I mean, with my business, it's like I've done one wedding in the past. I mean, everyone's different. Everyone, you enjoy like weddings and everything, but it was the most stressful experience of my career, really, doing a wedding. Yeah, I was like, oh God, no. It's like, so I can safely say that that's one thing I don't do. I sort of concentrate on the commercial side. There's enough of it. Yeah. But in saying that, you do have businesses who are niche, and you have wedding photographers, videographers that just do that.
The wedding market is down. Yeah. So anyone who is solely a wedding photographer is now having to think, well, what am I going to bolster this with?
Yeah.
Because I am aggregately getting less bookings.
Yeah.
So what am I going to fill that with? And if you don't have something that you can just pull on, it's like have as many levers as possible to be able to dive into. But that's not to say just do yes and be a busy fool and do everything.
Yeah.
It's just trying to figure out which things are going to be the right thing to pull on.
Yeah.
I am.
What's your favourite thing to take pictures of?
This is the thing. I swing from that sounded wrong. In mood.
You swing. If you swing while taking photographs, you're not going to get a good quality image.
No, they're very blurry. It's part of my
artistic.
style.
It's quite surrealist
Yes,
sort of.
I'm quite avant-garde. No, which is another term for terrible photographer. I'm not. I like a lot of variety in it. I love performance photography. I really like capturing stuff. So everything from gymnastics and sports and performance and like stage performances, they're brilliant. Really good fun capturing the mood and feel in an image of what's going on. Love doing that.
Yeah.
That's the end of photography where it's capturing a moment. And then I also like the other side, which is like the product and food photography bit, where you're setting it up. It's creation. Where there's all the control. You control.
It's just you and the food
I control the lighting. It's just me and the food. But I get control of the lighting. I get
YouTubers.
If
you watch that shot there, you'd have got something totally different to if you're just listening to the podcast there.
I bring a whole package.
You don't.
That's wrong. So I like the creation of stuff, and you can have a good play.
Absolutely,
So it's the two elements in it, and it's. That's why I really enjoy photography, and another reason why I don't focus in on anything is because I like the variety.
Right,
I would get bored. I get bored very easily with one type. So I quite like the change. But it's the idea of capturing a mood of something, and then and you look at the image, you go, you can get. Like the image tells the whole story.
Yes.
You can get one image from an event, and you can look at that, a performance, and you go, that encapsulates it.
Yeah.
You go, that sells it. It just gives a push.
And that's that's like what's like social media. If you're marketing for an event, or if you're like a venue who's doing that, so it's that thing of a picture that tells 1,000 words sort of thing.
Yeah.
Both of our industries are the same. With like sometimes it just takes that patience to find that right shot.
And when you've got it as well. I love that feeling of going. Of that moment where it's happened, that something magic happened and you were there with the button and you were like,
a bit of laughter.
I've just caught somebody just did the right movement. Something just happened. You go, yes, that's the one. I could take 3,000 photographs, but you come away and you go, but that's my favourite because I just captured something right.
If you've got the time to do that, it's such a joyous moment. Even a shoot I was doing today, I was like, it's just generally people around a desk just chatting to each other.
Yeah.
I was like looking for those emotional moments where you get a bit of laughter, a bit of like a reaction sort of shot. So it's getting that emotion, getting that visual,
just that visual move. Yeah.
Yeah. I've just asked you about what you love taking pictures of.
Yeah.
What do you not like? Is there anything that you don't like taking
pictures of?
Yeah, if there's a job that comes...
a job that comes in and goes,
I can do it, but...
if I have to.
Is there anything?
Off the top of my head, not really.
No.
That I can think of that I don't... I can't just
that
dive
variety
in.
Thing,
yeah, it's the variety. Yeah. I haven't been offered anything that I haven't... The only, I do a lot of, freelance food photography, and a lot of that food photography ends up, by and large, there's a lot of takeaways. Now, I'm fine with that, but I have a lot of photographs of a hotshot palm oil. That's all I'll say. Yeah, I have the whole remit of hotshot palm oil photography. I have a lot of them.
It's when it starts to feel repetitive, and it's like,
I
feel like I've taken this picture before.
And it's like, how can I make this one? Because it's often for the food delivery companies, and they have set parameters that you can take in.
Yeah.
It's not when I do my own food photography, there's freedom and there's a bit of creativity, and it's back and forth with the customer, and you go, right, what are you looking for? What is it you want to sell?
I noticed
what
that
we're doing.
If you go specific with the likes of Just Eat, and you look at their things, it's literally like
it's carbon
top
copies.
down,
top down, 45 degrees, 60 degrees, 20 degrees.
But that's
depending.
just down to their guidelines, isn't it?
They have strict guidelines that they'll only accept. Now that's for photography guidlines to create, and it's for them for brand consistency. And I totally get that.
Oh yeah.
When you've done 400 of them, it's another part, and you're going, I could And I think it's that bit, that itch in the back of your brain going, I could make this more interesting. I could do something here, but I'm not allowed. You know, I mean, I can, and I can turn to the restaurant and go, would you like this picture?
No, we won't.
I mean, you can't have that on Just Eat, but I could give you this one, and Just Eat will have to have the 45-degree angle shot.
Yeah.
So that's the only that I like.
Yeah.
I do like a bit more back and forth going, what look are you looking for? What's your restaurant about? What's because
getting the personality.
What are we trying to sell? How are we trying to market this food? What are we trying to say about it? What's the theme? What's the mood? Is it, you know,
totally get that,
is it sophisticated? Is it brash? Is it fun? Is it, you know, spicy? What are we looking for? Because that feeds into your imagery.
Yeah.
With some of the other, and I'll try not to name brands again. Bleep. With some of the delivery brands, it is literally, well, we just want everything like this, like that, and like that. And I get that, but it does get, you're like, whew, another one.
It's good when the work comes in, but
I'm not turning it down. I will never turn that down.
No.
Just there is just that little itch at the back of your head going, oh, this could be so much more fun. So
totally get that.
That's me.
Nice. No, that's a nice one. Okay. So we've spoken about your favourites and I'm not going to say the dislikes, I'll say least favourites. Let's say least favourites. I'll reword that question next time. This is a question I've been wanting to ask you. So, as I've worded this very nicely, I hope you appreciate this. So, if coffee is the yellow sun to your Superman, what's your kryptonite?
Ooh, I like that.
What would you say? Would you say? No, this is not completely down to photography and stuff like that. It's like what would be weakness just in general for you?
I'll just text my wife. She'll come back with a list. I think.
Your daughter by this,
my wife or daughter. They'll come back with an enormous list each. Oh, thanks for that. Yeah, we was just saying before, if ever anyone has a problem where they've got too much ego, have a child.
Yeah.
They'll knock that straight out of you.
5 words or less.
Oh, yeah, easily. I once woke up one morning and I put on a shirt and looked down and I realised I needed to iron all my clothes. And I said it out loud, but I said, everything on me needs ironing. And from 2 rooms away, my daughter just went, including your face.
Nice.
She was 7. 7. Thanks. That's right. I'll go back to bed now. I was like, it's too early for this.
You know those things that you just hear that just is on loop for the rest of the week, rest of the month. That's
lasted for 5 years. That cut deep, really cut deep. In terms of the things that I find focus. Not camera focus. I'm good at that.
Yeah.
As you can tell from the way I speak and my conversation, I spider web off. Yeah. I haven't been tested for ADHD yet, but I do meander off.
Yeah.
What that sometimes means is I can often lose track of what I'm trying to do.
Yes.
And generally it's things around the house. Work-wise, that often the photography is what I will just bury in and I will hyper-focus and just go in and do an edit. I've been known to spend 8 hours editing a photo shoot and then my wife's come in and gone, have you eaten food, Steve? Food? I haven't even been at the toilet. What are you talking about? This was just me. Why? Is it? It's dark outside. Yeah, I could do that.
It's like if you ever played like The Sims, well, that's how the sun goes down and the thing goes, Yeah,
and I'm just still there and what? What happened there? Why have I got a beard? So that and that's definitely. I did have another one and I've forgotten it, which I think proves the first one, which is excellent work there. I'm just reinforcing with examples. So
with photography, this is a question I didn't prep before, but I'm interested. It's hard to ignore the fact that probably 90% of people do not want to be in front of camera.
No.
How do you make people feel comfortable in front of camera?
That's almost that's part of the art side of it. It's the personal interaction with people. Because yes, there's so many people who are like, I don't like having my photo taken. I hate being in front of the camera, and it's about building a rapport up with them to start with. If you just get the camera and point it and go, don't worry, it'll be fine. That does not help. That's all you're doing is reinforcing whatever problem they've got.
Just taking pictures of them like they've been violated.
Yeah, looking, stop it, leave me alone. I think it is about having that relationship with them to start with.
Yeah.
Finding out, what it is. I mean, if it's a photo shoot or, if it's a venue photo shoot, it's trying to find what it is that they're looking for from the pictures or why, they're not delving into why they don't like pictures of themselves, because all you're going to do then is have them reinforce why they don't like pictures. But it's just
and that's going to go in their head. Like,
it just goes in their head. I don't
like...
like having photos because of these things. And now I've listed them; they're at the top of my mind.
Yeah.
But it's trying to distract them away from why they don't like photos and think about what they do want out of photos.
Yes.
What is it they're actually looking for? What is it they want? What do they like? And when it's with people, you're trying to capture an essence of a person.
Yes.
One of my bugbears is whenever I'm at any event and whenever you're photographing, the amount of people who the first instance is, can you make me look thinner? And it's like, can you photograph? Okay, can you edit this to take me chins out?
I get that. Maybe you're 10 years younger.
Yeah.
Can you maybe look 10 years younger?
Yeah. Get rid of the grey.
Get rid of the grey, yeah.
Get rid of the wrinkles.
Yeah. Maybe look
thinner. / taller. That's another good one.
What's your just have interest? What's your response to that sort of?
My response,
that's an art form as well. Is responding to those questions.
This is part of that. How do you get someone comfortable with photography? Because people are going, I don't look right. That's what they're outrightly saying. They're saying, I don't like how I look. So what you've got to do at that point is to try and reinforce that how they look is great because it's them.
Yeah.
They don't need to look younger or thinner or taller, because if they did, they wouldn't look like them.
No.
It's trying to look, I will make you look like the best you. I'm not going to take away.
Very nice.
I'm going to encapsulate what makes you, not iron over any wrinkles or anything like that. That's not what it's about. They're part of who you are. And it's trying to get them to embrace that a bit is the best way, because otherwise you can Photoshop a photo until, you can iron someone's face, de-age them. We've all seen the filters. There's hundreds of, but the problem is you look at that and then they look in the mirror and they go,
well, that's not me.
I don't look like that. What did he do?
I did that. I mean,
that's even more demoralising.
Yeah, I know this is like going back to Doctor Who, but obviously it's always going to go back to Doctor Who.
Quite right,
especially with both of us in the podcast. Recently, it's been the 60th anniversary of Doctor Who, and they heavily photoshopped David Tennant in like the promotional videos to make him look as young as he was when he first started.
Right, dating back to 2005.
Yeah, but he's not.
No,
and he still looks lovely.
Yeah.
I was going to swear there, but
he's my man crush.
No, well, same here. I mean, there's going to be like 10 minutes of just crushing over David Tennant.
Yeah,
that's going to be
while we do that, if you could just edit in a montage of David Tennant pictures, that'd be really nice.
But the thing is, he's gotten older. That's fine.
Yeah,
but I think it's a shame that certain areas of marketing feel the need to need to look pristine.
Yeah. And this is the thing, and I think, and it's like I say, if you do that, you could edit all of those, and then the person gets those images and looks at them, but then they know there's that uncanny valley knowledge in your mind. They look at those pictures and they go, but these pictures are great, but I don't look like that.
Yeah,
I look like what I look like in the mirror.
Yeah,
I know I don't look like that. These pictures look brilliant, but it's not me, and that's not the point of photography. It's capturing who that person is. So.
There's a bit of a balance thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's that balance of trying to make them look like the best version of them, not sort of paint over anything.
Yeah.
And it's trying to get that across to them, I think, is the best way. Trying to reinforce positives.
Really, no, that's a really good answer. That's even good advice for me, like, because when that question comes up,
it's awful. It's
especially with me doing like
terrible
visual effects as well. It's like, can you do?
Oh, could you? Yeah.
I was like,
could you do that de-aging thing they did with Indiana Jones? You're like, no, not for.
Let's do a 360 face scan of you, and we'll do CGI the whole vlog.
Build an entire model of you, and it'll be fine.
Yeah.
Well,
How many years is this project going to go on?
What's your budget again?
Keep the same budget. All right, okay.
Yeah. I'll get the crayons out. Come on.
Yeah. So now people listen to the podcast and like, I've said that before.
Oh, yeah, and everybody does it. And it's not anyone's fault. It's society and the culture we're in. That's the focus. And I think partly the reason I've ended up thinking the way I am.
Do you think social media has emphasized that a little bit? Like,
oh yeah,
like with like
it's
Snapchat
definitely reinforced it. All the filters, you can open up a filter now and it can live de-age you and do and change. I mean, I was one of the first ones to go on the app on the filter that de-aged and aged yet. It's just that I went and made myself look old because I was like, I was combing my hair and trying to look like old Captain America. I was like, oh, I do not look like him. Oh, but yeah, I saw playing with them. Brilliant, but it does reinforce when it's like, oh, here's you with a full face of makeup. Yeah, it does do that, and I think partly I'm hyper aware of it because I've got a daughter.
Yes,
and I think it's so growing up, I've been trying to reinforce you look great.
Yeah.
For who you are and for how you are. Yeah. Not for all of the additional bits that we need to do.
It's hard to ignore nowadays that it's very accessible.
Yeah,
very accessible to take pictures, to do videos. Yeah. What would you say is the difference between a phone camera and the likes of we've got DSLR cameras, and what makes them? What's the difference between them? And what's the benefits of using one to getting professional type pictures done?
Yes, multifaceted.
Yeah.
I've always been a big proponent of the phrase, the best camera is the one you've got in your hands.
Yeah.
Because there's no point in wishing you could have taken that picture, but your camera's in the car, so you've missed that moment. Yeah. So I love mobile photography, love camera photography. It's great. It's obviously it's got limitations in terms of it's getting better, but sensor size, lens, the flexibility of its ability to zoom in.
Yeah.
And yes, you can fake all the f-stops or change all of the depth of fields and all of those. They're not the same as it in reality, as it were, reality, which isn't real because it's still lenses. But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
DSLRs have the ability to create something much better in terms of quality level. That's undoubted just because of what they are. I think also there's a difference in how you use them when you've got them in the eye. The phone camera comes out like that, and it's there, and it's a whole different mentality. Whereas when you're holding DSLR, there's a whole different ergonomics to it, and a whole different mindset. There's a whole different structure in it, and that changes everything from your composition. You can compose shots with your camera phone, and you can do that. But there's a mindset shift, and when you're using the DSLR. There's obviously the quality difference that you can just attain. Yeah. And I think the flexibility of the range that you can get from a DSLR far outweighs what you can get with a camera phone.
Yeah.
But the ease and accessibility and having it there is definitely the swing side for camera phones.
Yeah.
Whether, like you say, whether it's video or just taking photos, it being there is great. And you can, like I say, they are brilliant. And, I would never turn to someone and go, oh, no, it's not, don't use that. There's that snobbery. Just don't have that. It's
the thing of one of the first times I went to New York, I remember carrying my camera bag with me.
Yes.
With the camera and, my camera in the other room. It was like a proper camera with a lens and everything, and that was great because I took really good pictures. But it's just the ease of taking it out, and there's different.
Yeah, it's. I think when you've got that camera, I think there's much more. It's almost creative and construction of shot.
Yeah.
In the mindset, when you've got that camera, you think, I am going to take a picture, and I'm going to take it and I'm going to do it because it takes. You've got to get it out. You've got to get it right. And this is what I'm going to aim. I'm going to take this series of pictures, do this with a camera phone. It's just, that looks pretty.
Yes.
And that's
the instance.
That's the win.
Yeah.
It's got the win of got it. Whereas, I'm stood next to you with my camera bag going, hang on, I've just got to get the right lens on. Just got to get, and that's, I'll just screw this lens on, and then I've got, and then, they're gone. And that's so, they've both got swings and roundabouts. Absolutely, and it's playing them both to the strengths. Because, I'm a big fan of either.
It's important. It's important to use the best of both worlds as well. Like getting, if say you're in business, it's important to get those shots. If there's a moment in your business where it's like we need to capture this right now, do it. But there is a time and a place for the clean look of professional photo, professional video.
The sensor size, the color balance, the all of that, the lens quality,
wordings,
all of those, lots of stuff, lots and lots of photography stuff.
Yeah.
And this is the gap, the trap. Sorry, that a lot of photographers and I'm guessing videographers fall into of this love of gadgets and the kit. Yeah. All the gear and no idea. I've got all of these cameras. and I'm going to use one, and I'm just going to point that, and I don't know what I'm doing with it, but I've got 19 lenses, and you can fall into that.
Yeah.
And it's very easy to do that. And I think everything has its purpose. Use them for what they are, and recognize what the strengths and weaknesses are.
Yeah.
Pro level DSLRs, they are what you need to do to get a really good, like you say, clean, proper image. And you can really work with, and it creates a mindset. You go, well, I'm going to use depth of field here, or I'm going to capture everything.
Yeah.
And there's all of the fancy computer modeling of changing it, but it's not the same. No. And it never will be. No. You've got to do it properly. So I think, but doing it properly, you've got to be there ready and doing it. Whereas with the camera, done it. There we go, put the phone back down. And you've won. That was me miming taking a picture with a phone, by the way, not snapping an elastic band for the audio there. I realised that was quite not a radio friendly noise.
No, but it's the emphasis on like the vision as well. Like, people hire photographers because they have a vision and they see the world differently. Yeah,
I think that's the thing. I've always had a camera's view in my mind of how I can frame a shot in my head. And right, what angle is this going to look best from? What do the different angles mean? If I'm photographing an object, what angle is going to mean what to someone looking at it? How is that going to press an emotion on a person?
Yeah, there's little things like if you angle a camera from down below looking up at someone, it sort of gives a sense of power to that person. Yeah. Whereas if you are looking down on someone, you are literally... it's the opposite effect, isn't it?
It puts you in an overseeing position. You are assuming the authority position in terms of looking down on that person, whereas the hero, as it were, shot of looking up at someone... and then it's like how close, if you're wanting to get really close to someone, but then also what focal length are you going to use? Because that totally changes how a person, you can get closer and closer to a person, but with a lens of 35 millimeters,
it could sort of make a difference between like someone looking quite isolated, or just a very personal shot of someone, and the depth of their emotion.
Yeah, you can really, you can really change even the same that a person filling the frame with their face. Yeah. Just the shape of their face changes depending on what, you could shoot from 100 yards back with a 200 millimeter lens and get a really close up shot of someone's face, or you could shoot really close up to someone's face with a 24 millimeter lens. Those two pictures will look very, very different because
because you can literally
all of their face will chip because of the nature of the lenses. So it will alter how their face looks and how much of their face. It's really weird.
I find it very interesting.
It. Really, really bizarre how the physics works. There's it has a big impact.
Yeah, there's like that. There's like I think it's like a GIF on. You see that GIF online where it just like compares all of them.
Yeah, as it moves closer.
It's very much like the Jaws effect.
Yes. Zooming in.
That famous.
Yeah, the zoom and pull focus at the same time.
I love achieving that one.
Nice. It's always good fun.
It's one of those shots that you have to use it right.
Yeah.
Don't just keep on doing it.
No, you can't overuse that shot. And you can't use it at the wrong time as well, because it's quite a dramatic one. Yeah. And you don't want to do that just apropos of nothing. Just
makes a corridor feel like it's getting longer.
Yes, extends the background out.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
I love
all those little tricks.
Moments.
Yeah. And that again feeds back to what DSLRs do.
Yeah,
it's having that.
It's a physical lens, isn't it?
It's the physical lens trick. You can't do it computationally because it's all about the way the light bounces. So that's the thing that a DSLR brings you, is that bag of tricks. You've got a whole heap of tools in that box that you can just play with.
Natural depth of field.
I
love a bit of depth of field.
Me too.
Obsessed with it's like a very blurry background.
Yeah.
It's sometimes like when I'm filming like an interview, I always like a big space to work in, because you've got that depth. You've got, even if the person's like right in front of you to interview, if you've got a decent enough background, I know it's going to be all blurred out anyway. Yeah. But because you've got that depth in the shot, it doesn't feel flat.
No, it pulls the person out, so they just pop in and draw the focus. Because if you could shoot with no depth of field, but what that does when someone's looking is they've got all of that stuff going on in the background that their eyes can focus on, and it draws attention away from that person.
Yeah. So there's lighting as well. Lighting's a big factor.
Definitely.
I said, Steve, I don't think I've got enough.
No, you don't have enough.
I've got enough lighting. I've got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've got 2 in the other room. And I think I need some more. because it's even like having lights on someone behind someone. It just separates them from the background.
So this podcast is actually a front. This is actually an intervention. You have too many lights.
God.
That by the way is a sentence I would never say.
No.
That's not a sentence a photographer would ever do.
That sounds very false.
Yeah. Too many lights? Not
lights.
at all.
Too many-
Just one more. Just another light.
one, yeah.
We just need another kick light. Just one more at the bottom.
Yeah.
Well, just one more.
It's just, it's LEDs. When people get me on the topic of LEDs, it's just like, even my soundboard here's got enough LEDs, like it just satisfies me very much.
Oh, yeah, it looks like a little flat Christmas tree.
It does. It's nice. It's really nice.
lovely.
So, next question.
Okay.
There is a lot of similarities between videography and photography.
Yes.
The obvious being the ography part.
Yeah. I've always thought that.
Apart from the obvious, what do you think makes photography and videography different, and why is it important to have a bit of both in a business?
Yeah, it is important to have both. I've done a bit of both of them, and they're two very different skill sets.
Yeah.
At the end of the day,
I think it's interesting. Like I've had a job where I've been asked to do the filming,
Yeah.
and then a bit of photography, and I'm like, yeah, but nowadays I'm like, I can do both.
Yeah.
But if you want 100% on one,
yeah.
I'd rather collaborate with the likes of you to, you do the best you do with the photography, and I do the best with mine.
Exactly. It's two very different skill
Yeah,
sets.
very different.
Even though
you could
think,
literally
but
be
it's-
both using the same camera,
Yeah.
but you're going to get totally different
Yeah.
products at the end of
Yeah.
it.
I think photography, especially for events and things like that, like I say, I think it's about capturing moments.
Yeah.
And getting it's that, like you were saying, image 1,000 words, the old phrase, but it's like those key moments that express an emotion, that put a message across, which is part of the sort of almost, it's two different forms of storytelling. I think one is the image storytelling sort of, it's like with an image, you kind of, the person looking at it creates the story behind it in their own head.
Yeah.
Look at a picture and they create the story on it. And that's, they look at it and they mentally create that. Whereas with videography, it's very much about, it's taking someone on a journey of your making. Right, and guiding them in it and showing them what you want to show them when you want to show them it. And that's two very different shot choices and two very different strategies for how you tell a story, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's kind of off the top of my head in terms of like that's how I think.
No, you're right.
I think I don't know what you think. What your thoughts are. That's.
I mean, yeah, I totally see that. I mean, like with photography, you can encapsulate a moment, that laughter moment. That's like sort of saying that's a brilliant moment to have when you actually capture. You could be shooting for hours, but there's just that one solid shot that you get. That is like a bit of laughter, a bit of natural emotion, not forced. I love doing like fly on the wall filming. And that's the best kind, because like you're getting the people at a point where they don't have to think about it. They're not pausing. Yeah, that's the natural state.
They're the best bits. That sort of almost like the B-roll candid. Those bits where you're capturing people in their natural environment, where you don't have to convince them that they don't, that how they should look, or
where they've forgotten.
They've forgotten to say, "Oh, could you make me look younger?" Because they're in the moment.
They're in the moment, and those work on social media. Like if you've got a really nice reaction shot, that's the thing to post.
I always think the best look a person, people look their best when they're confident, and that confident can be ignorance that they're being photographed or filmed, because they are. If they're in themselves and they're being themselves, they're not second guessing how they should be stood, how they should be, what they should. Yeah, that little. I'll just suck it in. Suck the gut in, and I'll just stand with my shoulders back. If they're not thinking that, that just the act of doing that makes them.
It's a very
less
natural.
It's
a very natural thing that people do, though. It's like people do it. I mean, you might have done that as well.
Definitely.
Like when we're doing photographs, videos of each other for like socials and whatnot.
Oh, definitely. As soon as you spot the lens, someone it's like, oh, a best pose.
There's that thing as well as a as someone who uses a camera regularly, you notice lenses.
Yeah.
I have done from a very young age as well, because like there's this one time I went on like a driving experience.
Yeah.
You know, where you get driven around by a professional driver.
Yeah.
And there was like the photographer going there doing the shots. I think I was the only one who. So everyone else, like I think my mum did it and my dad did it. They were like, "Oh, they're just really enjoying everything." And then me even then I was like probably 10 or something. Yeah. Even then I was like,
yes,
looking directly at camera and just.
Do you do that?
You.
Do you do that thing on roller coasters where you know where the camera is going to be? Yeah. I have one of my favourite photographs, which I will send you, and you are free to install this in on this. Is of me. And my daughter and wife on a motorbike roller coaster at Flamingo Land, and it hurtles you. And she was nervous to start with, and it fires you forward at stupid speed. Yeah. And I was like, and I'm next to her, and the picture is of me holding her hand across on the handlebar of the motorbike. And I was being the best dad in the world, going, "No, you've got this. Don't worry. Just be confident. You'll be all right. Don't worry. It's dead easy. You'll love this at the end." And then I realised where the camera was, and the camera shot went off, and all you've got is me looking like my best sort of grin James Bond look, suave and sophisticated, straight at the lens, while my child next to me is in absolute pieces, amazing, just crying her eyes out. And I look like I just don't care. I just suddenly went, "Oh, the lens, hi." Hi. And I've got my wife in the background. She's got the biggest grin on her face, but it's G-force. It's not. She's like, talk about losing 10 years. She did in that. She's like, ah! You could see all the whites of her eyes. And then my child next to me is crying, and there's me trying to look as calm and sophisticated as I look like I've been photoshopped in. I've never been more.
Don't look natural. Like
never been more proud of a photograph of myself in my life. Amazing. I was like, I've nailed that.
Absolutely amazing. That's awesome. Do you find you breathe different when you're taking pictures?
Oh yeah, like sniper breathing. Yeah. Especially when like zooming in. Yeah. When I'm doing like candid or zoom in shot. Yeah.
It's one of those things where like I've only noticed I did it like a couple in the last couple of years, that I had this new skill after all this time I've been like filming and stuff. This new skill where it's like, I'm controlling my breathing. Like I've got this technique of like doing handheld stuff now. Like I literally have to control my breathing to get the right
motion. Yeah. I can hold my breath for silly long times. Yeah. The other thing I also do, I often photograph gymnastic events, and some of the competitions. One of the last shoots I did, it lasted about 10 hours. Of me photographing. It was a long day for them. Yeah. But it was like multiple schools, and so on. And I'm basically shooting for pretty much all of that time. So there's a lot of like trying to catch the shot of there's action flying all over, and it's like, and sometimes it can be still, and it's like you got to catch it, and you're zooming in like to the other end and things like that. One of the other tricks I've often done is as well, I turn my watch inwards like that, so that while I'm holding my camera, I can tell what time it is. So I know how long I've been shooting, when the next break is. So I know for memory card swaps, for battery changes, for coffee break. I was like, when can I get a coffee? But yeah, I end up, I don't wear my watch inwards normally, but on a really long shoot, I'll switch my watch in like that and then breathe. Like you say, especially when it's like long zooms, I'm like, and I'll find myself not breathing and then suddenly be like, but I don't get short of breath afterwards. I just go, and I'll start breathing again now.
What about your posture? Because on a big event, I usually find that my posture is just as soon as I've finished, I'm like,
do you get an enormous pain right in the middle of your back there?
Because if I'm holding a camera, you'll see this visually on YouTube, but like I've got this weird. I've got this weird posture, and I'm like, it's almost like a bit of a humpback situation going on.
Yeah, I get exactly the same thing. I think it could be because I'm left-handed, as well. So I'll for the camera
another visual,
another visual. If you're listening on audio, just watch the video. What are you playing at?
What are you doing?
Come on, I'm only kidding. Please subscribe. I hold I sort of cup the lens underneath with my left hand, so I take most of the weight on my left hand.
Yeah, because
and then shoot with the right.
The lens is probably the heaviest part of...
It really is. I've got like a mirrorless, same as you. So the body is really quite light.
Yeah.
You take the camera off, and honestly, you go to pick it up, and you end up accidentally throwing it in the air because you go, that's not as heavy as it looks.
No, it's not.
The lens, that's got all the glass.
And usually it costs...
Yeah.
Well, it will cost more than the actual body itself.
Yeah.
I think people are surprised when they buy a DSLR camera. It's like, okay, where's the lens bit? Oh, that's separate.
No. Yeah, that's a separate piece. You go, but I bought a camera and now I can't take pictures.
You can't use it.
No. You're going to have to spend the equivalent of buying a small car on getting a lens that works. Oh my God. And so, I find that, especially when it's like, I've got quite a heavy zoom lens.
Yes.
And it's like really heavy. So when I'm just shooting
When you
those,
put it out.
and then I've got the twist to zoom in and out, and like say 10 hours, and I'm the same as you. You stand up and you go, oh God, my back, my shoulders.
Yeah.
Oh, what was wrong with me? Why was I standing like that? So,
But it's just not a Mac thing, isn't it? It's just like...
you just go in, you get into a position, and it's like
proper wildlife
crouch,
photography style.
Yeah, with the watch turned inwards, like some kind of...
Yeah. This is a question that I'm generally interested in because I've never really I've wondered this myself, but we're going back to lighting here. Like what difference does it make in terms of like photography? With videography, the lights are on constantly.
Yeah.
You spoke to me before we started recording about the fact that you've got lighting that literally comes on the instant.
Yes. Yeah.
What's the different? What sort of? How's that work? How does that make a difference to a photo if it's doing like a flash that's like just for that moment?
Yeah. The flat, I think realistically, it's the power.
Right.
It is really bright.
Right. Okay.
Really, really powerful in that moment, and it goes off really quick, really fast, and you can sync it with your curtain as you can get sync, so you can speed it up. But it's really, really powerful light. I do proms.
It's definitely not cost effective to just leave it on. Just like
no. Yeah, it'd be like a bulb an hour, just changing these. But these filaments are gone. It's all gone.
Yeah.
And also I think it would blind people. It's really bright.
Yeah.
So what you can do, it gives you the ability to really play with the light. So you can get a really big, full main light, and that will light up a whole crowd of people for a prom shoot. Put a couple of kick lights and side lights to then pull them out from the background and shine around them. Yeah. It's the science and art piece of playing with what look are you going for. Well, in that case, where do you want to place the light to get the light shine on the side of the face, or to light the hair to pull them out of the backdrop? And it's knowing where that is all going to go and what that's going to do to them there. But the difference is it's the power of the light. It goes off and then it's gone. And I've shoot proms and I end up sometimes, you're in the middle of a school disco, just by the side. There's a dance floor, there's the DJ, and on the other side there's me with a 4 meter wide black backdrop, 5 lights, and just me going, come on, let's get a picture. And it's like dark. But I'll take a shot and it's bright daylight. It's like no shadow on them. If I've got the right light, which I do, there's no shadow. They are looking bright as if they're shot in daylight, or brighter, to be fair.
When you're not doing photography, what are you doing? What would you say your go-to hobby activity would be?
Like I say, don't like to get bored. I am out of practice at the moment. I do run. I did the Great North Run.
Yeah.
I haven't really been back out since the Great North Run. I just put the boots down. I went, that's it for me.
You do a big event just to prove,
just to prove I can
get that professional photo to say that I've done. Yeah, I do running.
Yeah, I do running. Look, here's a picture of me. Look, there's me running. Look, I look like a runner. Hey, that's me running. Right, okay, I'm never doing that again. I've done it now 3 years on the trot. I'm signed up to do it again this year.
Yeah.
So I'm going to start running it again.
And do you do it casually, just in normal clothes, or do you do something?
I do not do it. I do not do it in either normal clothes or normal running gear.
Right, okay.
I have a full body Superman suit.
Fantastic.
Full runner. In fact, I tell a lie. I have 3 full body Superman suits. One with the cape stitched in.
Right, okay.
That's for special occasions. That's for event day, obviously. And 2, which don't have the cape, and they're 2 different colours. I have black Superman suit.
Oh, do you?
Oh, yeah, black Superman suit, but with coloured coloured S.
Is that
symbol.
sort of a formal Superman suit?
Yeah, that's for weddings, weddings and award ceremonies.
Yeah.
And then I have standard Superman costume, which I have as well. And I once got tickets to a music gig for going out running in the Superman suit.
Oh, right, okay.
I was running, and there's Hardwick Live was on, and I was running through Hardwick Park,
Yeah.
and the owner of Hardwick Hall spotted me and went, "What are you doing?" I was like, "I'm going for a run." He went, "Why are you dressed as Superman?" I went, "Well, it makes me run faster." And he just went, "Would you like tickets to?" And he just handed me 2 free tickets to go, because it was like,
Where'd I put these?
What is that? And I was like, I don't have pockets in this. That's a flaw. But yeah, so I do that. That's something that, for me, I stick the headphones in and I go for a run, and it's a bit of meditation.
Man of Steel soundtrack.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I genuinely timed my music playlist for when I was doing the Great North Run, so that the final stretch is the Superman theme tune.
Nice.
As I'm running along that beach at the end, I've got the Superman theme tune in,
Nice.
and I
almost
honestly
feel
think
like you're going in slow motion.
I think I was. I was convinced for some of it I was going backwards. I was looking at the finishing line going, that's not getting closer.
Around the world, like too fast.
Yeah, who's moving the finishing line, and why? Why would you do this to a person?
That is the Jaws effect again, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it really did feel. It was like, why? This can't be right. I mentally told my legs to run faster, and I heard them say, "No, no. This is what you've got, Steve. It's this or we lie down."
Yeah.
And I had a conversation back going, "Okay, we'll just do this then.
We'll keep
That's
on
fine.
going, keep
just
going."
what you've done so far is fine. Thank you very much for your attendance." I was shattering, but brilliant. So I do that. I go running. And bits of fitness, but I'm built for running.
Yeah.
For the audio, I am a coat hanger on string attached to pants. We're not looking at the Hulk here. This is so not a lot of anything is hitting the ground when I'm running. I've got gazelle build. Yeah. So it's quite ezy. I just big myself up with gazelle build there, didn't I? You're skinny, Steve, is what you are. Shut up. So I do that. I now have my wife. God bless her. She's bought me a replica Commodore 64 with preloaded games on. Nice. So I play that. I play various little video games and bits and bobs like that. But yeah, that's a proper little retro. It's got the proper black and red joystick.
Brilliant.
And it makes all the right clicks. It's
very tangible clicks.
And the keyboard makes the big chunk. It's the brown one. It's not even a mini. It's a full size. It's the full size one. So all the keyboards, the keys clunk when you press them. It's great.
It's odd that with like keyboards, because like they've got to a stage at one point where they want to make it as like quiet as possible. But like I know with like gamers now, like PC gamers, they want the
physical motion. We sort of moved from physical keyboards all the way down to as flat as possible, then to touchscreen. And then we quite liked it in the 80s when you pressed a button you could hear it.
You feel like you've got a genuine attachment.
The key really went on a journey. It's all the way down.
Yeah.
And so it's that I've got that. I know it's like it's my job, but I like playing with imagery. I like playing in Photoshop. And it's I've got that little thing. I wonder what I could tweak. I wonder if I could just. So I'll take an image and I'll have a little play and
that just shows that growing a hobby into a passion and like into your job, which is if you're lucky to do that, then that's
If you do what you love for a living, it's not a job.
No.
It's something. It's your passion thing, and it always is. And I still like doing that.
And there's that drive to do more with it and learn more.
What can I do? What else can I tweak? What can I learn? What can I? So that
and then embracing new technology as well.
Always
not trying to shy. I think there's always, especially within the creative industry, it's like these new technologies can easily, you can say, just deny that. Like that's not a thing. Yeah. If you embrace it, it's
it's like the camera phones and the fusion camera technology and all those. I love that, and let's play with that. Let's see what you can achieve with it.
Yeah.
What you can do, because yes, it's not the same as DSLR, but what is it that you can do?
Yeah.
What games can you play? Take what it is and do something fun with it.
Yeah, I think there's obviously AI is quite controversial at the moment, but you can play around with AI stuff.
Yeah.
And as long as it's not the be all and end all, that's the thing that you think. If you use it as a tool, then I think there's a bit of acceptance there.
Yeah, I'm very much. I think it's the difference between just typing some stuff into an AI, generating an image, and then turning around and going, "I've made this thing for you."
Yeah,
that's not the creative thing. It's using that, incorporating it in some way.
Also, the AI tools in Photoshop, which is massively beneficial. I think at this moment in time, you can still tell There's an element of it that you can still tell it's AI.
Yeah.
There's a bit of controversial stuff with like, I know, AI voiceovers and stuff like that. That's quite interesting. That's very, I think that's very personal. Like actually stealing someone's voice. And I think that's a very personal topic. So I say, that's not. Don't go down that route.
You're moving into deep fake territory there, aren't you?
That's
where
it.
You just, you're pretending somebody is
There is
something.
a line. And I think, unfortunately, there's no avoiding that line because it's going to get better.
Yeah.
If you embrace AI as a tool rather than a replacement for creative industries and stuff, then
I've used the AI tools in Photoshop loads for one, shortening workflow.
Yeah.
Just down to even simple things like it cuts things out of backgrounds.
Yeah.
Even just generative expand.
Yes.
And just dropping an element into a picture that you want in there, or taking an element out that you don't want there, that would have taken ages previously.
It's just
now,
it's affecting your productivity because you can just.
It's not something that I wouldn't have done before.
No.
It's just a better, faster way of doing it, and using those tools correctly.
Yep.
Great. It is, and that's the thing. It's that watch thing of going, well, hang on a minute. Is what you've created actually something you've created, or did you just ask Bing? That's two different things, isn't it?
There'll never be any replacement on like talent. The eye of a photographer, the eye of a filmmaker, the voice of a voiceover artist, the performance of any actor, voice or physical video sort of actor.
No.
There won't be any replacement on that. Just being careful, I think. Gone very deep on the AI topic there, but
it's because you have that. Because as a human, you can have a conversation with the person, with the client, and like I was saying before about food photography, you go, okay, what is it that you're looking for? What ideas? And you can have that conversation, and humans get context. AI, at the minute, let's wait and see, but at the minute, all it does is generate the next most likely thing based on the previous thing.
Yeah.
There's no context there. It doesn't understand. So you can go, I want this, and I want that, and I want that. And it will go, well, lots of people have said this, and this is what that kind of looks like, so this is that.
Yeah.
There's no spark of creativity there.
No.
Whereas you might go, well, I'm looking for this sort of thing. You go, well, I tell you, I know. Why don't we try? This gives me an idea. AI doesn't have that thought. AI doesn't go, this gives me an idea. It goes, this is the most likely thing. And that's the difference, I think, when you're looking at it. And if you're wanting something real, in terms of something that sparks a real connection,
human,
you've got to have that from a human creativity.
Absolutely. Yeah. Final question.
Ooh.
If you could have any superpower, what superpower would it be?
I think it would be flight. Yeah. I have loads of flight dreams. I don't know whether it's psychologically healthy or not, but I decide what my dreams are going to be when I go to bed.
I do that. No, honestly, I do that.
It's not just me. Right, cool. I'll go to bed and I'll be going, right, what am I going to dream about tonight? And I'll start creating a story or or something in my head, and I'll start. I love flying. I love the idea of flying. So I'll fly off, and I've done it ever since I was a kid. Massive Superman fan, which is obviously where the idea germinated from. But I've always loved the idea of just jumping and not stopping, and just floating around and just fly, and that is probably it. It's just flying for me. That's what I would do.
Yeah, I didn't know. I thought I was the only one who sort of pre-dreamed.
Do you pre-dream? Yeah.
It's like you start the story, and then you just let your mind go.
See where it takes you. Yeah. See where it takes. I can often take over in my dream as well. Sometimes I can take in.
This is an interesting thing. I mean, it'd be interesting to see if you do this. But do you, when you're in a dream, are you aware that you're in it?
Sometimes, and when I am, that's when I can then. And sometimes, and sometimes not. But sometimes I'm like, well, this is a dream, so I'll do this. And sometimes I just go, it's a dream. I'll just run with it. Whatever's happening, this is weird, but let's just do it.
I think I do a fourth wall break, and sometimes I think, I need to get up now.
Wait a minute. Yeah.
It's like Deadpool. It's like
speaking of fourth wall, now this is going to show my age a little bit, but and for anyone listening, so Saved by the Bell, the kids' TV show. Zach Morris, absolute hero of mine as a child. Do you ever fourth wall break to a fourth wall that isn't there?
Yes.
Yeah, thank God, because I've done it my entire life. Yes, I have. And sometimes when people are there, oddly, nobody else freezes like they did for Zach either, which is really annoying. They're carrying on with life, and I'm trying to have I'm teaching myself a learning moment, but I will often break the fourth wall, a la Zach Morris. And
that moment when you're in a situation that you just don't want to be in, and you look at that.
You just
look at that.
Look at a camera that isn't there.
Like, Rob, what are you looking at there? It's like, am I right?
You're probably wondering how I got here. It's those moments. Yeah, I do that. They're good. That's
just shows how mad both of us are in terms of
how influenced we are.
Being a creative, put a lens in front of you, like, oh god, your mind's.
If we don't even need a lens, we'll invent one.
Yeah,
it's fine.
Yeah. I've got 3 cameras to choose from. I looked at the fake
noticed we've both looked at a camera that isn't there, and there's a bank of them.
There's 3 cameras in the room. I do that in my other podcast, my personal podcast that I do with my friends.
Yeah.
Whenever I'm in a moment, I do that. It's almost I'm going to say it now, and you're going to notice it. If you ever watched The American Office, and when Jim he looks at the camera.
Yeah.
And his direction, I love that.
Yeah,
and I think I've incorporated that.
I absolutely loved Tim. It's Tim Freeman from the original Office, who used to do. He had it was like Abbott and Costello look at the camera because it was just exasperation. He'd often just go.
That's it. Literally, it's when you got some moment like, oh, I don't quite believe that just happened.
Yeah,
I said it was the last question. But it's not the last question because there's probably the most important question. Before I sign off from the very first episode of Any Business,
nailed it.
Where can people find you?
They can find me at studio8photography.co.uk. Also, Studio 8 Steve Images on Instagram and probably the other social medias. But Instagram is the one that I generally post to or respond to. Facebook, I forget about, I'll be honest. That's more my problem than anyone else's. That's a me thing. But yeah, so at Studio 8 Steve Images and studio8photography.co.uk is where you can find me.
Fantastic.
And feel free.
Follow, like, subscribe.
Smash that subscribe button. Hit the like button. You'll get notifications. No, I don't know.
That's probably all the wrong things for those social media platforms. But
everything wrong.
It'll do something if you press a button.
Absolutely outdadded myself with that one there, haven't I?
Right, Steve. Thank you so much for joining on this podcast. It's been a brilliant first podcast.
It's been an absolute pleasure.
To the people at home listening or watching, thank you for tuning into this episode of Any Business. Remember to like, subscribe, follow all those favourite things. It's different on all different platforms. Whichever platform you're tuning in on, do the relevant things to stay updated on when we do another podcast. And also remember to follow us on social media at NEBiznis. Until next time. If you've got any business, that's our business.